Elliot Rodger. Hi, Elliot Rodger here.
I've become friends with school shooters.
Has it really been over a decade since this guy decided to go kill a bunch of people? Because he couldn't get some ass? This case always bothered me and I genuinely felt like giving my 2 cents on it. I did some detective work on Elliot that I've never seen anyone else do, and I ended up discovering a lot of information which closely lines up with the life experiences he described in his 6 million page manifesto. We all know Elliot Rodger came from a fairly wealthy background. He attended exclusive events and moved from one house to another. But how many of you have actually seen what these houses looked like? If you're anything like me, you'll despise not knowing the answer to something of this nature. And this led me to dig into his family's background, particularly his father, Peter Rodger, and the homes that they likely owned in the early to mid 2010s. By connecting the dots, I was able to conclude that these were likely the neighborhoods where Elliot grew up. These neighborhoods seemed fairly affluent, and his living situation was definitely not as bad as he made it seem, even in the neighborhood of Canoga Park, which he had very little good things to say about in his writings. The videos he left behind, alongside his writings, paint a picture of a young man who lived a fairly comfortable lifestyle. Now, over time, I've noticed that there's actually no such thing as comfort. Those who don't have wealth believe that they would be in a much more favorable predicament with wealth, and those who already have wealth will probably desire something else. In Elliot's case, this was validation from women. And men. I discovered this entire case back in 2017 when I was 14 years old. I was a freshman in high school. I too had issues trying to navigate through my own adolescence, and to put it bluntly, I got my bitch fucked. So, during one of my nightly sob sessions, I ended up stumbling across this entire case, and I thought Elliot sounded like an unlikable, self-serving narcissist, which is actually very different when in comparison to other mass murderers. Elliot had no intention of inspiring others to commit similar acts, which is a sentiment commonly found amongst other noteworthy spree killers. Even at 14, I could sense that something was off about him. I eventually came across other videos from different creators sharing their own personal struggles with women, which led me to stumble across the incel community in its infancy. However, I could have never predicted that it would evolve into what it is today.
I'm gonna tell you incels and all you niggas that got a hard time getting pussy, which I don't. Getting pussy at this point to me is overrated. I've got it so many millions of times.
You see, many people have already made videos regarding Elliot already, yet there seems to be somewhat of a shortage of videos that seek to destigmatize the people who frequent these types of communities. For the longest time, I was warned to avoid people who frequented incel communities like the plague. However, after spending some time within the since-deleted community Incel Selfies, I began to even wonder if Elliot Rodger himself would have enjoyed being around these people, considering the fact that he was far more detached from reality than anyone else that I've personally met.
See, guys like this. Oh wait, no. Not guys like those. Those guys were ugly as fuck, but...
Now, a lot of self-proclaimed incels claim to worship this guy, and sure, it's mostly done ironically, but sites like Vice are so quick to clutch their pearls and crank out 40-minute documentaries trying to sensationalize what's truthfully just a bunch of 4chan users shitposting. And the funny thing is that this shitposting isn't even confined to these specific forums anymore, it's spread everywhere. It's like there's different factions or shades to this black pill, and like the lightest shades can be found amongst the most normie people you'll ever meet. Like you've got people that are probably posting shit like this on TikTok, going on about how their subhuman maxillary projection will guarantee that they will never know what vaginal discharge smells like. And to be quite honest, I can't blame them for finding this shit funny. I mean, where the fuck else are you going to find memes like this about how your skull shape is inherently flawed and have a swarm of people reinforce those thoughts? It's kind of like nihilism and humor find each other naturally. Look, we can joke around, we can make fun of how this guy looks and laugh at the Chad memes, but when you start embracing the darkest shade of the black pill, you're basically signing up for mental torture. It warps your perception of everything, and in a way it gives you a slight glimpse into the severely autistic worldview of someone like Elliot Rodger and what he might have been feeling on a day-to-day basis. As for me, I'm pretty shocked I wasn't all that influenced by these types of people, because I was practically raised by the internet since I had no siblings, and I'm gonna go off script for this, and you guys are about to realize why I have to cut my audio up so much. I suck at articulating my thoughts, but here goes. I only got to finish about half of high school in a traditional school, and I unfortunately ended up getting detained when I was younger for what felt like an eternity. I ended up in a group home actually with a lot of different people. This is actually a very, very big group home, and I know the word home implies that there was only one building, but no, this was like, it might have been like 5 acres. It was just huge. It was absolutely gigantic. Pause. And there were plenty of cottages. There was just like plenty of homes that were essentially dorms that were spread out throughout this entire piece of land. It was sort of like a university in a way. Everyone here had gone through the juvenile system at some point in time. They had to have gotten arrested in order to land here. So, as you would assume, many of the young men here were gang affiliated. Some did drugs.
Yeah, homie, that's how you do it.
And some did both. There was a plethora of drugs, and there was just people fighting daily. There was people like smoking meth out of tinfoil. They were like making pipes out of like actual tinfoil. There's this guy who like smoked meth out of it, and then like he had a bar of soap, and then he started carving it all night, and then I guess his excuse was that his head hurt or some shit. I don't know, man. It was quite a fucking... I'd never been exposed to these types of people, so it was pretty different, actually. And side note, if you're watching this video, chances are you probably know who these people are, because we're all terminally online here, and most people in there wouldn't be able to tell you who any of these individuals are, so it's safe to say that these people weren't raised online. And I mean, aside from the fact that I did have some friends here, there was something that was glaringly obvious to me. Everyone else that I met here was most likely on a different frequency than me. If you were to bring up the conversation surrounding lookism and height and mogging to these people, you'd probably receive the same look you'd get if you publicly announced that you were going sex doll shopping at the city morgue. And guys here who were short or ugly were getting laid, so that begged the question, was I bad with women and speaking to people, or did I just leave the internet and my internal dialogue to tell me what I had to believe before experiencing the world firsthand? You see, I felt inadequate when comparing myself to these people, and I personally took that to heart. This led me to develop this drive that just allowed me to get released eventually and then find a significant other for the first time within a few months. It was quite a leap, actually.
Friends with school shooters.
Yeah.
You know, I've spent so much time indoors frying my brain with mass murderer memes for so long, and I've had a lot of time for introspection, and I've concluded that the most valuable piece of information that I've ever come to realize is the fact that no one truly gives a fuck about anyone but themselves. But most importantly, after making my own tinfoil pipe and trying some methamphetamine, I've gone even further and mellowed out to the point where I've stopped caring about shame. In fact, I came across $1 million worth of game. Listen here. Now, I can't be the one to make you drink, but I can lead you to the water. Real men started paying for pussy a long time ago, but all in all, this case is a little different. There's really not much information left to unearth 10 years later, but I figured I'd speak on it anyway and try to add some of my own personal anecdotes. I know I got a lot of comments on my other 2 videos, and I really appreciate that still, like I genuinely do, so at times I try to pivot away to different content, but it seems like people just want me to talk about school shootings and deranged shit, so yeah, fuck it, why not? I mean, I don't really see any problem with that. I do have other videos planned, so yeah, bear with me. I'm in college, but in the meantime, just comment, tell me how you feel. You want more videos like this? I'll just sit back and talk. I have a lot to say. Alright, peace out.